I'm from Florida. All right, I'm an athlete. Like I play football. Like I don't really do drugs. I don't mess with weed. I don't do much of that at all.
That's what I always thought. So I was so confused when you
he
were
showed
on
up.
edibles.
Bob Marley.
So this is great. I'm glad we're doing this now.
Yeah, absolutely. So am I.
So, I'm there for castings, right? Like the final round of castings, and they fly you in late. They take away all your stuff. Like you basically are like doing interviews from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. After that, they're like, here's some money, go hit the town. So the first thing I did was I went to Santa Monica. I was like, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna try what a dispensary is. I don't know what a dispensary is. I'm gonna try one of these things out. You know, I'm gonna get some weed and like eat an edible and just like have the most majestic dinner by myself. Right. I get there. I realize I lost my wallet. I forgot my wallet. Forgot my ID. Had to go all the way back to the hotel. So then I go to the closest dispensary there is, right from LA. It's not far. Get that, and I text Sophia. I was like,
why do you keep calling me Sophia?
Is it Sophie?
You don't know my name.
That's why it didn't work out.
Believe it or not, there was an edible consumed before the taping of this.
What the fuck? He suddenly doesn't.
No, Lisa, continue.
It's
Continue.
the tequila. I'm sorry. Sophie, my bad. I'm extremely sorry.
Sandra, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so I text Sophie.
It's like when people mispronounce your name. Yeah. She's like, what the fuck did you?
I text Sophie, and I'm like, hey, like I'm in LA. Like, where do I go eat? She's like, you should go eat at Fish Bar. I was like, all right, bet. And I was like, come join me. It's like Manhattan Beach right where I live. I was like, all right, great, come, you know. So I'm gonna go back up. I'm at the dispensary, right? And I'm talking to this lady. She's like half my size, and I'm looking at her. I'm talking like, so how many gummies do you eat? Because I don't know. I've never done this before.
Mm-hmm. This was your first time.
It's my first time ever doing edibles.
Meanwhile, you're getting all dressed up, all dolled up, ready to go.
No. I walked out like this, but no makeup. Like.
Sure. Okay. I'm just kidding. I don't remember.
You said today you've never seen me dressed up.
I know. So she's like, I eat 20 milligrams like when I get high. I was like, look at her. I was like, okay, I'm double her size. I can eat 40. Right. Whoa. So as soon as I get it, I just eat 10, like 3 of them right away. That's 30 down the hatch. And then I text my buddy, huge stoner. I'm like, you're like, how much do you eat to get high? Like when you're doing edibles? He's like, well, I eat 30 normally, but 40 to get really baked. I was like, oh,
you're done.
Fuck, I'm done. So then, but anyways, it hasn't hit me yet. I'm like still, rolling. She's like, meet me at Fish Bar. I was like, great. Go to Fish Bar. Get there, and I'm like sitting waiting for her. And then she comes, but right before she comes in, I'm like, oh shit. Like,
it hit you at that time.
I'm extremely high. Like, this is good. and then Sophie sits down. And it's good. It's kind of good at first. And then eventually, I told her, I was like, yeah, I ate edibles, so I don't know what's going to happen.
You were like, I'm really high right now. And we've hung out a bunch. Like, we've been friends for years.
Yeah.
So
our conversations are typically a lot of fun.
Like,
those potatoes?
No, it's like we've never ever had awkward conversations.
No.
Like we've been friends for so long. We've hung out a ton. For once he it was like normal, and then it hit a point where he was just like, I'm really high, and I was like, oh god,
yeah.
this is not like him. Like
I was literally, all I could do was sit there, eat my food, laugh, and look at her like, I can't even respond to her. I don't know why she's still talking.
And are you running the conversation
She's
at that
running.
point, Jeff?
Kind of, but it was getting a little, I realized, and I used to smoke a lot of weed, and I don't at all anymore, but I know what it was like when I used to be really high, and the people I would be with were not high. And I would always be like, these people have no idea what I'm going through. Like, these people are not on my planet.
You should have offered her a gummy.
But here, so this begins my thought process, though, is I am going on the Bachelorette. While I'm at castings, hoping to make it. They're following me. They're gonna see me with this beautiful blonde girl, and they're gonna be like, "This guy's a player. This guy, he just left. He left for 30 minutes. He's already with another girl." You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm screwed. They're gonna catch me. You know?
Mind you, so he's telling me this story. We were at the Four Seasons, and I'm drinking a Negroni, and I was just in the hotel lobby with him, fascinated.
Yeah. I remember one point I went to the bathroom, which seemed like 600 yards away. Went to the bathroom. And I'm like in there like by myself, and all of a sudden I thought I heard a camera. I'm like, they're taking pictures of me. Like I'm like in here ducking, like there's nobody around me.
Oh, Dad, I wish I knew that this
then,
was going through like that.
And then when I go back to my table, like dinner's finishing up, and I'm like, oh shit. Like my card is about to get declined because I'm out of state. I've already bought like 3 different things, like you know what I mean. And then sure enough, I like spoke it to existence. My card gets declined. And I'm like, great. Now I'm on this Wells Fargo app that I don't even know how to use, trying to like figure out how to unlock it.
Are you watching this go
down?
down?
So I left this out of the story on purpose because I didn't know.
I didn't know how to do it.
Remind you folks, this is a pre-Bachelorette.
So his card gets declined, and I'm like, I didn't know what to do. Like I didn't know whether you would want me to pay for it or not. No. So I was just like, oh, dude.
And I could probably barely communicate to her at this point.
You see it.
Yeah, you're like barely. I'm like.
Did the server bring it back? Say, sir, we need another
she's like,
card.
sorry, your card's declined. And I'm like, okay. So my thought process is, when this happens when you're out to dinner with someone, do you want to call attention to it and make it like I didn't know if I was going to make it worse by like exactly. So I
downplay the hell out of it.
So I thought, okay, I'm not going to make this worse. I'm just going to like not do anything, because if I offer to pay for him in front of the waitress, I didn't know how you were going to handle
Shame on the
it.
server too for saying that it got declined.
Yeah.
You should have the wherewithal, if you see someone on a date as a server, and I'm in hospitality industry, to say, oh, we don't take American Express, or oh, we're having issues with our machine right now. Do you have another card? We'll try to, or maybe put it in manually. To say that it got declined in front of a couple, it's a recipe for...
Bet you wish Joey Coldcuts was your server.
Well, I remember I didn't do anything because I didn't want to make it worse, and I knew you were already high, and I didn't want you to start...
You played it great.
Okay, good.
But you call... Then he has to get on the... He has to call your...
The bank?
You had to call...
I had to
you
go
had to call
app.
people. He's like on the bank, on the phone. So I was like, okay, I'm going to wait for you outside, because he was standing... The restaurant was empty.
The restaurant was closed.
And he was standing up. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna wait outside because I don't want to like intrude on the. You were like so high, and then you were on the phone with your bank, and I was like, I don't want to stand here and listen to him be on the phone with his bank. I don't want to like. I basically was trying to make you not feel more uncomfortable.
That's
so I was
good.
like,
Good
I'm
on
gonna
you.
wait outside for you.
So it gets greater. It gets better.
It gets better.
Yeah.
Also, can we backtrack for a minute? I was like, what are you doing here? And
oh yeah, she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm modeling.
Yes. So he goes,
it's a grind.
Yeah, he's like,
you know.
He's like, I'm here.
Guest calls.
He's like, I'm here for modeling castings. And I was like, oh, so I'm asking him all these questions about modeling. I'm like, do you ever get embarrassed when you post modeling photos to your page? Like, do your boys rip on you? You were just like, no, I don't care. Like, you're basically like downplaying the modeling thing because I'm like interrogating you about modeling because, okay, anyways, fast forward.
So I finally get my car to work. I'm like, all right, we're getting out of here. And then Sophie's outside, and I'm out there with her, and then we're saying our goodbyes, and she goes to hug me, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, she's trying to kiss me. There's producers watching.
No, it wasn't.
I know, but in my head, like, you gotta understand, I'm freaking out. In my head, I'm like, there's producers watching and everything. I like duck, you know what I mean? Like make it like a really awkward situation.
I remember the hug was really weird. It was like,
for you guys.
And by the way, I thought
later,
well, it was only like it was January 2019. It was right before he went on the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like literally like no, because 2 weeks later I found that out, and I was like, oh, that makes sense why you're in town. But I thought you were so embarrassed about the credit card. That because I remember the hug was like super quick, and then I was like, okay, bye. Like I was literally like, dude, I've known you for like what, like 6-7 years, and you're like, okay, bye. And I thought he was just like upset, embarrassed about the credit card thing. So I was like, okay.
My thought was the producers were seeing me with you, and you were. I thought like you went for a hug, and I was like, oh, that's a kiss. I gotta get away. Like,
oh my god.
You know. And so then she in my head I see like storming off like like walking up the hill, right?
I was not storming off. I'm nervous.
You just have a big stride, okay?
I was literally nervous.
Legs over
No. Do you know? No. At night, when I'm walking alone at night, I fucking speed walk because it's like
she
dark.
Hit that thing out of there.
Yeah. So you thought I was mad at you?
Yeah, I thought she was mad at me.
And that's why you called me I knew you were calling the next day to like apologize for the weirdness. I thought.
Is that the last time then you guys see each other?
Yes.
No. I've seen you since.
Oh no! We've seen since, but like before the show.
Oh, before the show.
It was literally 2 weeks before he went to film. And by the way, us meeting up for dinner was not romantic. It was literally like
Just
we've been friends for so long, and it was just like saying hi. Like when he went on the show, I was excited for him. I was excited to watch him. Like I know someone going on The Bachelor. Like it was. I never for 1 second felt like upset or jealous. Like we don't have that type of like we're
So
happy. We're supportive of each other.
We are.
And you were rooting for him to
Yes.
advance as it goes through.
I was excited. Well, I didn't watch much of it. I don't really watch the show. So like I watched the first episode and he danced. And I was like, the fuck is he doing?
Probably on another gummy.
and then I watched the last episode where he was almost proposing and my jaw was on the floor. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, but no, I was always rooting for him. I think everything that's happened to you is awesome. Like, I think it's cool.
But my night gets worse though here.
What?
Yeah, it gets worse.
This night's not over?
No, this night's not over because now like you left, and now like the place is closing, so everyone's leaving. And I'm like, I'm in Manhattan Beach, but I think I'm in like the worst parts of LA.
You're in the safest neighborhood.
So I'm
ever.
like, but I'm like literally hiding behind the corner of Fish Bar, like waiting for an Uber, like peeking outside, like I'm about to get robbed. Like this is not good, you know. And then my Uber finally comes. And I think my Uber's a producer, so she's like asking me all these questions, like interrogating me. I'm like, I'm not saying anything. I'm just like, you know, that's it. And then I finally get to my hotel, and they're like, you have to text them like when you're 10 minutes out. We have a curfew. So I'm texting them like, hey, I'm there.
Wait, were you like already casted at this point?
No, this is like the final casting. But like
Why do you have a curfew?
Because they have handlers that orchestrate like when you get to your room, so you don't see any other possible people.
Oh, that's intense.
So I get there, and I texted them. They're like, okay, we'll see you when you get here. And I'm waiting at the front door for like 10 seconds, which you're stoned feels like 34 minutes, right?
Sophie's date felt like 5 hours.
Exactly. The day that was never ending. And then so I was like, screw it. I'm not letting him see me like this. I book it. Right? I speed walk. I hit a Sophie walk. You know what I mean? And I walked the wrong way. And I walked literally to where every single producer is, like all hanging out. Like at the end of the night, like, you know what I mean? They're like, Tyler, where are you going? Like, I'm going to my room. And I just kept walking. And they're like, that's the wrong way. I'm like, oh shit. That makes me freak out even more. And I sprint the other way. Get to my room. Go upstairs, hit the elevator, and then like I take the sheets, I put it over my head, thinking that's gonna keep me away from them, right?
Oh my God.
And then I'm a mess, bro.
Oh my God.
And then like there's knocking on the door, and like, which I think there's knocking on the door. I don't know. I never checked it. I was too scared that they're not getting me, and I'm like hiding, and like somehow I woke up for my fight the next morning. But I was like, they're definitely cutting me because they saw me stoned.